The ferry horn let out a long, echoing cry as the vessel docked. Gull feathers floated in the wind like confetti from some forgotten celebration. The crowd spilled out, businessmen in tired suits, mothers with children, workers with canvas satchels, all with purpose, all with somewhere to be. Except her. She stepped onto the pier alone, moving slowly, as if each plank beneath her shoes carried weight beyond wood. A navy coat hugged her slender frame. One leather suitcase dangled from her gloved hand, worn smooth at the corners. Her hat was tilted just so, enough to hide her face, but not her poise. She didn't speak to anyone, didn't check a map, didn't hail a cab. She just paused under the shadow of the auto ferry to Oakland sign and turned her eyes to the city, like someone seeing it for the first time, or for the last. Eddie Romano leaned on the hood of his yellow cab, puffing a cigarette down to the nub. He watched her. Everyone else rushed. She didn't. That always meant something. "You lost, sweetheart?" he called. She looked at him, quiet eyes, almost gray. "No," she said. "Just waiting. Ferry only goes one way, and you already took it. I meant something else." She nodded at his license plate. "You ever heard of the Seagull Hotel?" Eddie blinked. "Sure. Yeah, back in the day. Caught fire, didn't it? 5 years ago, down by Mason Street." Her lips pressed into a line. "Thought so." She turned and walked toward Market, the suitcase bumping lightly at her side. Clara Duarte watched from across the street, hands deep in the pockets of her apron. Her flower stand was quiet this morning. Foggy days didn't sell bouquets, but Clara had learned to read people. The woman wasn't poor, wasn't rich, wasn't scared, just hollowed out, like driftwood. She watched her disappear down a side street that led to nowhere, then turned back to rearrange her violets. That evening, Officer Nathan Boyle stood beside a stack of produce crates flipping through reports. Routine patrols, nothing stolen, nothing broken. But he didn't like this one. A bookstore break-in near Pier 3. Door jimmied, no money taken. But on the floor, a small pile of oranges, fresh, unbruised, no fingerprints. Nathan filed it under IDOD and moved on. He had better things to worry about. But as he walked back toward the ferry terminal, he paused. Something flickered in the corner of his vision, a movement in the alley across the street. He turned but saw only a silhouette. A woman, hat, suitcase. Then she was gone. Title: Fog over Market Street, Chapter 2, The Man with the Clock. The fog didn't lift the next morning. It thickened. Nathan Boyle stepped into the abandoned bookstore just after sunrise. The air smelled of damp paper and something older, salt maybe, or memory. The storefront window was still cracked from the quake years back, never replaced. Dust clung to the shelves like forgotten prayers. No one had entered since the last patrol, at least not through the front. He walked past empty racks, past yellowing stacks of dime novels and railway timetables. In the center of the floor where the oranges had been, there was only a dark stain. But something else now leaned against the wall, a drawing. Charcoal on butcher paper. Rough but unmistakable, the ferry building's clock tower tilted slightly as if viewed from below. Every line precise, every shadow sharp. But in the foreground was something that didn't belong. A figure, tiny, standing near the base of the tower. A woman in a long coat. Nathan squinted, then folded the sketch and tucked it into his jacket. Clara Duarte swept the front of her flower stand in slow, steady strokes. Fog still laced the gutter like a spill of lace. Her daughter, Sophia, sat on a stool beside her, swinging her legs and humming a song no one had taught her. A man walked by, tipped his hat, then stopped. "Do you have anything that doesn't wilt?" he asked with a smirk. Clara smiled. "Only things that try not to." He bought a single daisy and left. She returned to sweeping until something on the cart caught her eye. Tucked behind a tin of violets, half hidden by a newsprint wrapper, was a sketch. Her fingers trembled as she lifted it. It was a portrait, not of her today, but of her family, from 10 years ago. Her husband, in his Navy uniform. Clara holding baby Sophia in front of the old bakery. Every detail perfect, down to the chipped brick in the wall behind them. She stared at it for a long time. No name, no note, no signature. At the cab stand, Eddie Romano popped his trunk to check the spare and found the suitcase. It hadn't been there yesterday, but there it was now, sitting like a sleeping dog. He hesitated, then opened it. Inside, a child's black shoe, a ferry ticket, dated July 14th, 1929, a broken wristwatch, stopped at 9. 17, a photograph of a woman holding hands with a little boy near the edge of a dock, the woman from yesterday, unmistakable. He closed the suitcase, lit a cigarette with shaky fingers. That ferry ticket? July 14th, 1929, the day of the Humboldt collision, when two ferries rammed each other in thick fog. 6 dead, dozens injured. The incident had all but vanished from the papers, overshadowed by stock market jitters and buried under legal silence. But Eddie remembered it. He was driving fares that morning. He'd heard the screams. And now this woman, asking about a hotel that burned, showing up with no name, leaving sketches no one should have. That evening, Nathan returned to the bookstore. The fog clung to the eaves like spiderweb. Inside, the dust had shifted. He found another sketch, this one of a clock with no hands, dripping into a pool of water. He looked up just as he heard footsteps outside. He stepped into the alley. She was there, standing alone beneath the auto ferry to Oakland sign. Same coat, same suitcase, gray eyes watching him. He took one step forward. "Who are you?" She opened her mouth but said nothing, then turned slowly and walked into the fog. Nathan didn't follow.